a black single dad, took a job no one wanted, driving for a tough billionaire, and found his best days. Jerome Patterson adjusted his only good tie in the rearview mirror of his 2010 Honda Civic, parked outside the gleaming headquarters of Whitmore Industries. At 34, he was a single father facing eviction in 2 weeks if he couldn't find steady work. His 7-year-old daughter Zara was staying with his neighbor Mrs. Chen while he attended this interview, the one job no one else wanted. Personal driver for Victoria Whitmore, he muttered, reading the job posting again. Demanding schedule, difficult employer, previous drivers lasted average of 3 weeks. The pay was exceptional, $75,000 annually, but the reviews were terrifying. Ice Queen, impossible to please, makes grown men cry. But Jerome was desperate. After losing his accounting job 6 months ago, he'd burned through his savings and was down to his last $50. Zara needed stability, needed her father to succeed where others had failed. The elevator carried him to the 40th floor, where a stern receptionist directed him to wait. At exactly 2 p.m., the office doors opened. Victoria Whitmore emerged like a force of nature. Platinum blonde hair in a sharp bob, designer suit that probably cost more than Jerome's monthly rent, and ice blue eyes that seemed to analyze everything. At 29, she'd inherited her father's tech empire and doubled its value in 3 years through ruthless efficiency. "Mr. Patterson," she said crisply, not offering her hand. "You're on time." That's encouraging, since punctuality was apparently beyond my previous 5 drivers. "Yes, ma'am. I understand this is a challenging position." "Challenging?" She raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Patterson, I work 18-hour days, travel constantly, attend events where image matters, and have zero tolerance for incompetence. My last driver quit mid-route during rush hour traffic because I asked him to take an alternative route. Are you going to abandon your responsibilities when things get difficult?" Jerome thought of Zara, of the eviction notice, of the empty refrigerator at home. "No, ma'am. I won't abandon anything I commit to. We'll see. Your background check shows you were previously in accounting. Why the career change?" "My company downsized. I've been looking for stable work for 6 months. And you think driving a car requires no skill or intelligence?" The question caught him off guard. "Not at all. I think being responsible for someone's safety, managing complex schedules, and representing your company requires considerable skill and professionalism." Victoria studied him for a long moment. "Most applicants see this as temporary work beneath them. You seem to understand it's a serious position. I need this job, Ms. Whitmore, and I'll do it better than anyone you've had before. You start Monday, 6 a.m. sharp. Don't disappoint me." Hello, my Stop Racism family. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we dive deeper into this beautiful love story, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country and state in the comments below. Also, I'd love to know your thoughts. What did you think of the story so far? Do you believe love can truly conquer prejudice? Let us know in the comments. We love reading them. And trust me, your words motivate us to keep making these videos. Let's make this video reach at least 50 comments. Your support means the world to us, and it drives us to create even more meaningful content for you. So don't forget to comment, share, and keep spreading love. Jerome's first week was brutal. Victoria's schedule was relentless. Board meetings at dawn, business lunches across town, client dinners that ran past midnight. She criticized everything: his route choices, the car temperature, even how he opened her door. Slower approach to the curb, Mr. Patterson. I don't want to appear rushed. Yes, ma'am. And the music is too loud. I need to think. Of course. But Jerome noticed things others missed. Victoria never ate lunch, surviving on coffee and determination. She took calls from Hong Kong at 5 a.m. and London at 11 p.m. When she thought he wasn't looking, exhaustion showed in her slumped shoulders. On Friday evening, as they sat in traffic, her phone rang. "Whitmore." "What do you mean the Morrison deal fell through? That's unacceptable." "No, handle it myself." She hung up, rubbing her temples. "Tough day?" Jerome asked gently. "They're all tough days, Mr. Patterson. That's the nature of business." "May I ask something?" "What?" "When's the last time you took a real break? A day off?" Victoria's laugh was bitter. "Days off are luxuries I can't afford. While I'm relaxing, competitors are working. While I'm sleeping, international markets are moving. But burnout isn't productive either." She looked at him sharply. "Are you giving me advice on running my company?" "No, ma'am. Just observing that even machines need maintenance." For the first time all week, Victoria was quiet. That weekend, Jerome used his first paycheck to catch up on rent and buy Zara new school supplies. "Daddy, why do you work so late?" she asked over their celebration dinner at McDonald's. "Because I'm helping someone who works very hard, sweetheart. And she's helping us have a good life." "Is she nice?" Jerome considered this. "She's complicated, but I think she's trying to be good at something very difficult." Monday morning brought a crisis. Jerome's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, had fallen and broken her hip. She couldn't watch Zara anymore. With no babysitter and no alternatives, Jerome made a desperate decision. "Miss Whitmore, I have an emergency situation," he explained quickly, expecting to be fired. Instead, Victoria was silent for a long moment. "Where's your daughter now?" "In the car. I know this is unprofessional. Bring her up." "Ma'am?" "Your daughter. Bring her to my office." Zara entered like a small tornado of energy and curiosity, her hair in neat braids, wearing her favorite purple dress. "Wow, your office is really big," she announced, making Victoria blink in surprise. "You must be Zara," Victoria said, her voice softer than Jerome had ever heard it. "Yes, Daddy says you're his boss. Are you nice to him?" "Zara," Jerome started to scold, but Victoria held up a hand. "That's a fair question. I try to be fair to your father. He says you work really hard, and that's why you're tired sometimes." Victoria glanced at Jerome, something unreadable in her expression. "Your father is very wise." The day proceeded differently than usual. Victoria's assistant Rachel set up a small area with coloring books and tablets for Zara. During meetings, the little girl sat quietly, occasionally whispering questions to her father. "She's remarkably well behaved," Victoria commented as they drove to their final appointment. "I'm sorry about today. It won't happen again. Mr. Patterson, how old were you when your parents divorced?" The personal question surprised him. "They didn't divorce. My father died when I was 12. My mother raised me and my two sisters alone. That must have been difficult." "It was, but she showed us that strength comes from taking care of the people you love." Victoria was quiet for the rest of the drive. Over the following weeks, an unusual routine developed. Zara occasionally accompanied Jerome to work when childcare fell through, and Victoria began showing unexpected patience with the little girl's presence. "Miss Victoria, why don't you have kids?" Zara asked one day during a traffic delay. Jerome winced, but Victoria answered seriously. "I've been very busy building my company. It takes a lot of time and energy." "But don't you get lonely?" Victoria met Jerome's eyes in the rearview mirror. "Sometimes. Daddy gets lonely too, but he says having me makes him happy even when things are hard." That evening, as Jerome was about to head home, Victoria stopped him. "Mr. Patterson, I've arranged for Zara to have tutoring sessions with my assistant's daughter. Rachel's girl is 9, and they seem to get along well." Jerome was stunned. "Ma'am, that's incredibly generous, but it's practical. Consistent childcare will make you a more reliable employee." But Jerome saw through her business-like tone. Victoria Whitmore, the woman everyone called heartless, had arranged help for his daughter simply because she cared. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Don't read more into it than necessary," she replied, but her cheeks colored slightly. Over dinner that night, Zara chattered about her day at the office. "I think Miss Victoria is sad," she announced between bites of spaghetti. "Why do you think that, sweetie?" "She has lots of pretty things, but no pictures of family. And she always looks like she's thinking about something that makes her worried." Jerome realized his 7-year-old daughter had seen something in Victoria that the business world missed. Vulnerability hidden beneath armor. The breakthrough came during a late-night drive back from a client dinner. Victoria had been unusually quiet, and Jerome noticed her hands trembling slightly. "Are you all right, Ms. Whitmore?" "Fine, just tired." But she wasn't fine. When they stopped at a red light, Jerome heard her breath catch. In the rearview mirror, he saw her struggling not to cry. "Pull over," she said suddenly. "Ma'am, pull over, now." Jerome found a safe spot and parked. Victoria sat in the back seat, her perfect composure finally cracking. "I just lost the biggest deal of my career," she said quietly. 3 years of work, gone because I couldn't compromise on terms that would have hurt our workers. That sounds like integrity, not failure. Integrity doesn't pay salaries or keep the company competitive. She laughed bitterly. My father built this empire through ruthless pragmatism. He'd have taken the deal. Would he have been able to live with himself afterward? Victoria looked up, surprised by the question. He never seemed bothered by difficult choices. Maybe that's why he needed someone like you to run things differently. For the first time since he'd known her, Victoria Whitmore looked genuinely vulnerable. What if I'm not strong enough? What if everyone's right that I'm too soft for this business? Jerome turned around to face her directly. "Ms. Whitmore, I've watched you work 18-hour days without complaint. I've seen you make decisions that affect thousands of jobs. I've watched you show kindness to my daughter while maintaining standards that would break most people. If that's soft, then soft is what this world needs more of." Victoria stared at him for a long moment. "You really believe that?" "I believe you're exactly the leader your company needs, and I believe your employees are lucky to work for someone who chooses conscience over easy profit." Something shifted between them in that moment. The wall Victoria had built around herself began to crack, and for the first time, Jerome saw not the Ice Queen, but a young woman carrying enormous responsibility and doing her best to bear it with grace. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. After that night, Victoria's demeanor toward Jerome changed subtly. She still maintained professional boundaries, but there was warmth where there had been ice. She asked about Zara's school progress and remembered details about Jerome's life. "How did your daughter's math test go?" she asked one morning. "She got an A-. She's been working with Rachel's daughter on fractions." "Excellent. Academic success is important. She wants to be a scientist when she grows up. Says she's going to find cures for diseases." Victoria smiled, the first genuine smile Jerome had seen from her. Smart girl. The world needs more women in STEM fields. During a business lunch that ran long, Victoria surprised everyone by declining dessert to ensure they'd be on time for Zara's school pickup. "Your daughter's schedule is more important than my sweet tooth," she explained when the client looked puzzled. That afternoon, watching Victoria interact with Zara, Jerome saw a different woman entirely. The corporate executive became almost childlike herself, fascinated by Zara's stories about playground politics and art class projects. "Daddy, can Miss Victoria come to my school presentation?" Zara asked that evening. "Sweetie, she's very busy." "Actually," Victoria interrupted quietly, "when is the presentation?" Jerome stared. "Next Friday at 2 p.m., but I'll clear my schedule." And she did. Victoria Whitmore, CEO of a billion-dollar corporation, sat in a tiny plastic chair in an elementary school classroom, watching Zara present her project on butterflies with rapt attention. Afterward, as they walked to the car, Victoria was unusually quiet. "Everything all right?" Jerome asked. "I was just thinking about something Zara said in her presentation, about how butterflies transform completely, becoming something beautiful and free. She's always been fascinated by change and growth. She's remarkable. You've raised an extraordinary daughter. Thank you. That means everything coming from you." Victoria stopped walking and looked at him seriously. "Jerome, I need you to know, this job, having you and Zara in my life, it's changed something in me. For the better." It was the first time she'd used his first name. The shift from employer-employee to something deeper happened gradually. Then, all at once, late-night drives filled with meaningful conversations. Victoria joining Jerome and Zara for simple dinners when work ran late. Moments when their hands brushed passing documents and neither pulled away immediately. "We're entering dangerous territory," Victoria said one evening as they sat in the car outside Jerome's apartment building. "I know. I'm your employer. This could complicate everything." "It already has." She turned to look at him. "Jerome, I don't know how to do this. Relationships, feelings, they weren't part of my business plan. Maybe that's the problem. Love isn't something you can plan or control." "Love?" The words seemed to startle her. "Yes," Jerome said simply. "I love you, Victoria. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, you. The woman who rearranged her schedule for a 7-year-old's presentation. The person who cries over deals that would hurt her workers. The brilliant, kind, incredibly strong woman I see when the boardroom mask comes off." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "I love you too. But Jerome, the world isn't going to accept this easily. A black single father and a white billionaire. People will have opinions. Let them. Their opinions don't pay my rent or raise my daughter or make me happy. What about Zara? How would this affect her? Zara adores you. She's been asking when you're going to be her second mom." Victoria laughed through her tears. "She has. Every day for 2 weeks. She's already planned the wedding. Apparently it involves a lot of purple flowers. Purple is her favorite color. Everything about Zara is your favorite thing lately." Victoria reached across the center console and took his hand. "Jerome, if we do this, really do this, it changes everything. Your job, our dynamic, how people see us. Victoria, you changed my life the day you hired me. Everything else is just details we'll figure out together." She leaned forward and kissed him softly. "Together," she repeated against his lips. Their relationship became public knowledge when business magazines published photos of them at Zara's school carnival. The headlines were brutal. "Ice Queen melts for the help. Billionaire's questionable choices. Victoria Whitmore's shocking romance." "I'm sorry," Jerome said, reading the articles in Victoria's office. "For what?" "For the way they're writing about you. About us." Victoria closed her laptop firmly. "Jerome, I've been criticized by business journals since I took over this company. They called me too young, too emotional, too soft. Now they're calling me too unconventional. Their opinion of my personal life matters as little as their opinion of my business strategies. But the board cares about profits and stock prices. Both have increased every quarter since I took over. My personal happiness is irrelevant to company performance." Despite her confident words, Jerome could see the strain. Board members who'd previously supported Victoria began questioning her judgment. Clients made inappropriate comments about her interesting choices. Social media buzzed with speculation about her fitness as a CEO. The breaking point came during a company retreat where board member Harrison Blackwell cornered Jerome. "I don't know what game you're playing," Blackwell said quietly, "but Victoria's reputation is being damaged by this association. If you cared about her success, you'd end this. With respect, sir, Victoria's happiness is more important than your comfort level." "Her happiness? She's a billionaire. She could have anyone. And she chose me. Maybe you should ask yourself why that bothers you." Blackwell's face reddened. "I think we both know why." Jerome stepped closer. "Say it plainly. A woman in her position needs to be above reproach. Dating the hired help, especially..." He paused meaningfully. "Especially what?" "You know what." Jerome felt his temper rise. But before he could respond, Victoria's voice cut through the tension. "Especially what, Harrison?" she asked coldly, having overheard the conversation. Blackwell turned, flustered. "Victoria, you were just expressing your racist concerns about my relationship with a good man who happens to be my employee. Is that accurate? Now, see here." "No. You see here. Jerome Patterson is twice the man you are. He's honest, hardworking, intelligent, and kind. The fact that he's black doesn't change any of those qualities, though apparently it changes your comfort level with my choices. The board has concerns. Then the board can replace me. but they cannot and will not dictate my personal life. Victoria took Jerome's hand publicly, in front of the entire retreat. Anyone who has a problem with my relationship is welcome to leave. That includes board members. The confrontation with Blackwell had consequences. 3 board members called for a vote of no confidence. Victoria's stock options were threatened. Business partners began distancing themselves from Whitmore Industries. "Maybe we should take a break," Jerome said one evening, watching Victoria pace her penthouse. "Are you giving up on us? I'm trying to protect you from losing everything you've built. And what if I said everything I've built isn't worth anything without you and Zara in it?" Jerome stopped her pacing by pulling her into his arms. "I'd say you're crazy. Crazy about you." "Victoria, be serious. This is your life's work." "No, Jerome. This company was my father's life work. My life's work is becoming the person I want to be. Someone who chooses love over fear, integrity over convenience, and happiness over other people's approval. Even if it costs you everything, what would it cost me, really? Money? I have more than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Status? I've learned that respect based on fear isn't respect at all. Power? What good is power if I'm too afraid to use it for what matters most?" That night, Victoria made a decision that shocked the business world. She called a press conference. "I stand before you today as the CEO of Whitmore Industries, and as a woman in love," she began. "For 3 years, I've run this company with one priority: increasing shareholder value. Today, I'm announcing a new priority: creating a company culture that values human dignity, personal happiness, and authentic relationships." The reporters fired questions, but Victoria continued calmly. "I love Jerome Patterson. He's made me a better leader, a better person, and hopefully someday a better mother to his remarkable daughter. If the board feels my personal happiness compromises my professional effectiveness, they're welcome to replace me, but they will not intimidate me into sacrificing love for their comfort." The room exploded with questions, but Victoria simply walked away, leaving the business world to process her unprecedented declaration. The board meeting was tense. Victoria sat at the head of the conference table, Jerome beside her as moral support. The vote of no confidence was scheduled for that afternoon. "Victoria," began board chair Margaret Chen, "we need to discuss the practical implications of your recent personal choices. My relationship with Jerome? Your relationship with an employee? The optics are problematic." Jerome started to speak, but Victoria placed a hand on his arm. "Margaret, let me be clear. Jerome is no longer my employee as of this morning. He's my partner in every sense that matters." "You fired him?" Blackwell asked hopefully. "I promoted him to Vice President of Operations. His business acumen and integrity make him uniquely qualified to help streamline our processes." The room erupted in shocked voices. Jerome stared at Victoria in amazement. "You can't be serious," Blackwell sputtered. "I've never been more serious. Jerome has insights into efficiency and employee relations that this board lacks. His background in accounting and his observations of our daily operations make him invaluable. This is nepotism. This is recognizing talent regardless of its packaging." Victoria shot back. "Something this company should have been doing all along." Margaret Chen called for calm. "Victoria, the board's concern isn't Jerome's qualifications. It's the unusual nature of your relationship progression." "Unusual how?" "Because I fell in love with someone from a different background. Because our relationship didn't fit your expectations of appropriate corporate romance." The uncomfortable silence that followed was answer enough. Victoria stood up. "I see. Well, let me make this simple for everyone. You can accept Jerome as my partner and a valuable member of this leadership team. Or you can accept my resignation, but you cannot have one without the other." The board meeting continued for 4 hours. In the end, faced with losing their most successful CEO and the potential public relations nightmare of appearing discriminatory, the board voted to support Victoria's decisions. "Congratulations, Mr. Patterson," Margaret Chen said formally. "Welcome to the executive team." Jerome shook her hand. still somewhat dazed by the rapid turn of events. Thank you. I won't let you down. See that you don't. You'll have significant responsibilities and considerable scrutiny. As they left the boardroom, Jerome pulled Victoria aside. I can't believe you did that. Did what? Recognized your value? Jerome, you've been essentially managing my schedule, analyzing our routes for efficiency, and offering insights into employee relations for months. The promotion just makes it official. You risked everything for me. I risked everything for us. There's a difference. That evening, they picked up Zara from school together. The little girl noticed their intertwined hands immediately. Does this mean Miss Victoria is going to be my mom now? Victoria and Jerome exchanged glances. Would you like that, sweetheart? Jerome asked. Yes. Can we have the purple wedding now? Victoria laughed, the sound full of joy and possibility. Soon, Zara. Very soon. 6 months later, the wedding was indeed purple. Purple flowers, purple bridesmaids' dresses, and a purple bow tie for Jerome. Zara served as maid of honor, beaming as she watched her favorite people, promised to love each other forever. In his speech, Jerome talked about unexpected blessings. I took a job no one wanted, driving for a woman everyone said was impossible to please. Instead, I found my best friend, my greatest love, and the woman who taught my daughter that strength and kindness can coexist. Victoria's speech was shorter, but no less heartfelt. Jerome didn't just become my driver. He became my conscience, my anchor, and my home. He and Zara showed me that success isn't measured in stock prices or quarterly reports. It's measured in moments of genuine happiness and the courage to choose love over fear. How's this story hitting you so far? Tell us in the comments. If you're loving it, type 1. If not, type 0. We want to know what you think. 1 year later, Victoria and Jerome sat in their backyard watching Zara practice her science presentation for school. The little girl had grown confident and articulate, thriving in their blended family. Any regrets? Jerome asked, pulling Victoria closer on their porch swing. About what? Giving up the simple life of just running a billion-dollar corporation for the complicated life of marriage and motherhood? Victoria laughed. Jerome, running Whitmore Industries was never simple. But this is beautifully complicated in all the right ways. The board meeting went well today. Profits are up 15% this quarter. Turns out that promoting based on merit rather than connections is good for business. Who would have thought? Your father would be proud. I think he would be. Not because of the profits, but because I finally learned to lead with both strength and heart. Zara ran over, interrupting their quiet moment. Mommy Victoria, will you help me with my presentation about family traditions? Of course, sweetheart. What kind of traditions are we talking about? The kind where daddies and mommies choose to love each other even when other people think it's weird. Victoria and Jerome exchanged amazed looks. Their 8-year-old had distilled their entire journey into one perfect observation. That's exactly the kind of tradition worth preserving, Victoria said, hugging Zara close. As the sun set over their suburban home, a far cry from Victoria's previous penthouse, but infinitely warmer, Jerome reflected on the journey that had brought them here. A job no one wanted had led to a love no one expected, proving that sometimes the best things in life come disguised as the most challenging. The former driver and the billionaire CEO had created something beautiful together, a family built on mutual respect, genuine affection, and the radical belief that love really could conquer all. In choosing each other, they'd found not just happiness, but the courage to redefine what success actually meant. Their story became legend at Whitmore Industries, where employee satisfaction reached all-time highs under leadership that valued both excellence and humanity. But for Jerome, Victoria, and Zara, the real victory was simpler. They'd found each other, and in doing so, had found their way home.